already in the second week of Elul. Every year, when this period of the year comes again, I have the same problem. On one hand, the month of Elul is made so that on its own already it brings man a kind of awareness, a kind of cheshek desire to change, to become better, to prepare himself for the day of the judgment, Rosh Hashanah. That is something which comes spontaneously, without, we say, even any effort. That's what Chazal meant when they said, Elul Rosh Tevos, Ani le doidi v'doidi li. It's not just Rosh Tevos like that. It means, actually, in the month of Elul, all the Yidden of the whole world, they behave differently. They feel an attraction to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ani ledoidi. And therefore, v'doidi li. As we know, when someone feels love for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, then he feels also that HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves him. It is impossible. We spoke already once in a shir, B'sinas Hashem oisonu otzionu meretz Mitzrayim lashmideinu. The Yidden said HaKadosh Baruch Hu hated us. And Moshe Rabbeinu told them, it's not HaKadosh Baruch Hu that hates you, it's you who hate HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because it is reciprocal. It is impossible, therefore, to realize, doidi li, how much HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves us, how much HaKadosh Baruch Hu is ready to help us, how much HaKadosh Baruch Hu is here to listen to our prayers, to our tefillas, to help us to do tshuva. It is impossible to realize that if we do not realize first, Ani ledoidi. First, we have to realize Ani ledoidi. And that's exactly what we feel in the month of Elul. The fact itself that there are many more people tonight than the last year, we said, is already a proof to that. And in fact, I told the girls of the SEM yesterday, and I spoke to them about this. I told them, tomorrow I'm going to say a shir to the ladies on the other side of the street, because I spoke there in the old SEM. And I told them, I'm sure there'll be a lot of ladies coming. Why? Because of Elul. And tonight, I thought maybe I made a mistake. After all, how can I be so sure? And I was right. Why? Because that is Elul. That is Elul. Elul is a month which is special. Rabbi Yisrael Salanter said, the whole year has to be like Elul, really. Why? Because he says in Pirkei Avos, Istakel b'shleisho devorim ve'enato bo lidei aveira. You should look and think about three things, and you will never sin. What are those three things? Me'ayin boso. You have to think from where you come. Mitipos rucho. From a stinking drop. Ule'on ato hilech. And where do you go? Limkom ofor rimo v'soileyo. To a place of dust and ashes. Or worms. V'lifnei mi ato osi litein din v'cheshbon. And in front of whom are you going to give din v'cheshbon? Lifnei melech malchei hamlochim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. One has to think constantly. Because when is one allowed to do an aveire? Never. And if the only protection we can have not to do an aveire is to think about those three things, It comes out that we have to think constantly about those three things. Yes? Many times we have got problems. We might lose our covet if I do a certain activity, for example. Certain mitzvah which is not lefi kvoidi. Sometimes we've got certain sfeikes. Is it lefi kvoidi? Is it not lefi kvoidi? What will people think about me? Yes? And then if we understand, we think, Dame ayin boso, who are you? From where do you come, you? You. Your arms, your feet, your head, everything. From where do you come? What is your origin? As a große Knacker bist du. From where do you come? Biti pasrucho. And where do you go? A place of worms. Come off for him of a sailor. And earth. Then Ramessias Yeshorim says, when you think about that, there is no gaiva anymore. If you think really about that, then you cannot be misgoy anymore. It's impossible to be proud and to be arrogant and to be so upset and so preoccupied and so worried about your own covet. If you think about that. And al-kulam, on top of all that, the main thing, the last thing, the makibe patish, the last straw. What is it? You'll have to give a din v'cheshbon. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to ask you a few questions. What did you do in your life? What did you do with all what I gave you? And that we have to think the whole year. And that's why Rabbi Yisrael Salanter said, the whole year has to be like Elul, because what is Elul? Elul is the preparation for Yom Adin. Elul is a preparation for the Day of Judgment. When we know, and I repeat it every year, when we see what happened in that year, Shnas Tashnat, things that we never dreamed of last Rosh Hashanah. Who could have thought, who could have imagined of all the tragedies that happened? One has to use this imagination to tremble and to fear the Yom Adin. Otherwise, why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu give us a Rosh Hashanah? If we do not have to think about all that, if it's better to forget it all, do not remind us. Why should you remind us? Why should you make us tremble? Why should you make us fear the Yom Adin? So why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu give us Rosh Hashanah then? It would have been better to keep it quiet. As if the Goyim don't know. They don't know what Rosh Hashanah is. They don't have Elul, they don't have Rosh Hashanah. Why? Because at any rate that they're not going to do tshuva. So if HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us a Rosh Hashanah, it is because HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows that we can do something about it. We can change the Gzar Din. We can, without tshuva, before Rosh Hashanah, we can, Be'ezras Hashem, change the whole Gzar Din. That's why HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us Rosh Hashanah. I heard from Rabbi Leibovitch, Zecher Tzadik Livroche, once he spoke in the evening of Rosh Hashanah. It was in the year 53 or 54. And he said, people make a toast, they think tshuva can wait till Aseret Yemei Tshuva. He said it's a big mistake. Why? It's even a dangerous mistake. Why? Because tshuva in Aseret Yemei Tshuva can only change the Gzar Din for the Beinonim. For those who have not been written in Sefer Tzadikim or Sefer Reshoim on Rosh Hashanah. For the Beinonim, for the people who are 50-50, that Tluim V'Oimdim on Rosh Hashanah, so for those people, they can do tshuva, and by doing tshuva, they can change the Gzar Din. But Chas v'Sholem, for those who have been written with Reshoim Gemurim on Rosh Hashanah, for them it doesn't have tshuva. Yes, they can do tshuva, but it won't change the Gzar Din. They can do tshuva. Anytime you can do tshuva. But it won't change the Gzar Din. On Rosh Hashanah, there is a Gzar Din for the whole next year. And therefore it is urgent. It's paramount. Our life is at stake. Our life, our happiness, our health, is at stake in those, because of those few weeks which separate us from Yom Adin. Let us exploit to the full those days of Elul. Although the whole year has to be like Elul, said Rabbi Yisrael Salanter, but Elul bleibt Elul. The greatest tzaddik who behaves in the whole year more than what we behave in Elul, but when comes Elul is a different person. Elul is Elul. Elul is special. Ani ledoidi v'doidi li. On one, and the problem I have every year is the following. So on one hand, everybody is moved. Everybody is more receptive. His heart is softer in Elul. So it's a very propitious time. And on the other hand, we don't know how to bring it out in practice. We don't know how to do tshuva, pashut. We don't know what. All right, yes, I'm ready to do tshuva. I'm ready. How do you change the gzar din? By doing tshuva, of course. Utshuvot, tfilot, doko, mavirin esroya gezero. There is no other way. There is no other way to change the gzar din except with tshuva. Even Bilom Orosho knew that. There's a medrash I just read on the parsha of Bilom Orosho, or Bilom. The parsha says, the Midrash Rabbo says, on parsha of Bilom, Bilom was a clever Rosho. Why? Because when he saw the Malach, the angel, with a sword in his hand, and the Malach was going to kill him, so Bilom said the following words, Imra be'einecho, if it is bad in your eyes what I am going to do, Teshuvo li, I will return back to my place. I will not go on my way. And the Medrash says, Bilom was a clever Rosh because he knew that to protect himself from punishment, from death, there was only one way out, to do tshuva. So Bilom was a clever Rosh because he knew, even Bilom knew, that to escape the cherev, the sword of the Malach HaMoves, there was only one thing to do, that is to do tshuva. And therefore we call him a clever Rosh. So I was learning that Medrash with Schrage Newman. And we asked the question on this Medrash, why is he called a Rosh then? He was clever, I understand. It's very clever to know that. Because I don't know if we know it. I don't know if we are convinced. If we really know that in order to escape Yisurim, to escape punishment, yes, we have to do tshuva. There is only one way out, only tshuva. I don't know. We know and we don't know. We are ktane emuno. We are not very, but we are not fully convinced. Because if we would be fully convinced there is no other way, then we would do tshuva. We would find ways how to do tshuva. And Bilom knew, so that he was clever, that he was, I understand. But why was he a Rosh then? Because if he was doing tshuva, he's not a Rosh anymore. What would you say? He was just cheating with the Malach. He was just saying, Min hasof v'lachutz, only from the lips outside, that outward. Only he was saying like that, I'm going to do tshuva. But he wasn't really doing tshuva. You can't say that, because a Malach you cannot cheat. You cannot lie to a Malach. Maybe you can lie to a boss of Adon, to a human being, but you can't lie to a Malach. If he wants to escape the cherev, the sword of the Malach, he has to do tshuva, proper tshuva, real tshuva. So if Bilom Orosho was clever, he knew there was no escape from the Malach, except by doing tshuva, so he was clever, so why was he a Rosha then? He's not a Rosha, he's a tzaddik. Tzaddik Orum. He was a tzaddik, a clever tzaddik, not a clever Rosha. So this Bochor, Shage told me, he explained to me the pshat in the Medrash. Beautiful, wonderful. He explained to me that bleibt a Roshe. Bleibt a Roshe. Bilom stays a Roshe. Why he stays a Roshe? Because he only did tshuva on that. He knew that he deserved to be killed by the Malach because he was going to curse the Yidden. So on that specific action, he was ready, that he knew he was going to deserve, he was deserving to be killed. On that, in order to escape death from that, he was ready to do tshuva, and he was ready to do tshuva shleima mamish. But the rest, he didn't do tshuva, the rest. What is the rest? The rest is all his actions, all his rov avoinus he had, all the majority of his actions. And the person is counted the Rosh because of the rov avoinus, because of the majority of his deeds. And the majority of the deeds of Bilam were avoinus. He didn't do tshuva on the rest. He only did tshuva on this. So therefore he's called a Rosh. Bleibt a Rosh, he's a Rosh, but he's a clever Rosh. Because when it suits him, when he knows what is at stake, when he knows there's a cherev in front of him, he does tshuva. And Take, he escaped. He escaped death. Take. The Malach said, I would have killed you, now I'm not killing you. Because you have done teshuvah. So let us learn an example. Let us take an example from Bilam. Yoim Adin. Who knows? Because we say, oh, Baruch Hashem, it's not the first Rosh Hashanah. It's not the first Rosh Hashanah. We are used to it. How many Rosh Hashanah do we had? Baruch Hashem, and Baruch Hashem, we survived. But how many people did not survive? So this politic is not proper. If the Torah has warned us, here is a Yom Adin, blow the shofar. As the Rambam says, the shofar, blowing the shofar means to wake up from your slumber. And then it means we can do something. We have to do something. And the problem is what? That is the problem. That is the problem. Just yesterday there was a younger light from the Avrech from Manchester Koilel who asked me a question. What do you do when you don't feel sorry about the bad behavior you had? I know I've done things which I shouldn't have done. But I don't feel sorry about it. What do you do? He asked me, what do you do? In other words, how do you do tshuva? Because, see, when we speak about tshuva, we always think about the Baalei Teshuva. Baalei Teshuva, when you say, for example, you see this young couple, someone presents me to a young couple, these are Baalei Teshuva. They come from very far. Just last year, they were not keeping anything. No Shabbos, no Kashrus, no Taras HaMishpoche, nothing. And they went to a Arachim, they went to a seminary of seeds, for example, and they were completely transformed. They started keeping kosher, and she wears a shaitel, and he keeps Shabbos. Oh, kol hakavod, as we say, mamish, such a wonderful thing, Baalei Teshuva. They are Baalei Teshuva. And us? Can it apply to us to become Baalei Teshuva? No. Why? Because we keep already. We keep already Kashrus. We keep Shabbos. We keep Kashrus. So we are from Yidden. We are Orthodox Jews. On what is there to do Teshuva? And what will you say? On Lashon Hara, yeah? Makes laugh. A Gelächter. Was noch? On certain little things. On certain little things. On losing one's temper, for example. On kas. The Rambam says the same, you have to do tshuva on maisim roim, on bad deeds. You have to do tshuva on midos rois. You have to do tshuva on kas, on kina, on jealousy, on sin. Nah. And without that, I won't be able to be zecher b'yoyim adin. Was it gefährlich? And if I lose my temper, everybody loses his temper. What? I don't do it often, at any rate. And the same for Lashon Hara. When do I speak Lashon Hara? Kimat never. And so on, and so on, and so on. So we belittle, and there is no way out to do tshuva then, therefore. Because everything becomes little. See? Those Baalei Teshuva, they have done a drastic change. it's in one way, it's easy. It's very hard, but it's easy. Once you take the decision to change, it's very easy. Well, you go and buy a shaitel, for example. It's easy to buy a shaitel. Doesn't cost so much. And that's it. Or you buy a new set of saucepans. Good. Nicht gefährlich. And so on and so on. It's not the end of the world. Keep Shabbos. Trefft sich an Teze. You can find a way out. But when it comes to fromme Yidden, to do Teshuvo, Gewalt geschrien. It seems impossible that we should do Teshuvo before Rosh Hashanah. Tell me, don't fool yourself. Tell me exactly what, how, and how do you do it? To be sorry about all the Lashon Hara I spoke? To be sorry about Onoas Devorim? Onoas Devorim. Someone says a word to someone else, which hurts. He has to do Teshuvo on that and ask Mechile. No, everybody speaks about Lashon Hara, but about Onas Devorim. Onas Devorim, sometimes we don't keep the tongue properly, or the same as Lashon Hara. We're not careful what we say, and we have vexed someone, we have hurt someone without meaning. We didn't mean it. We didn't mean it, but we did it. We did do it. And we have to do Teshuvo. We have to be more careful from now on. The way you speak, kas, kine, and so on. How do you do it? How do you do all that? See? Because the root of the problem is we consider ourselves fromme Yidden. That is the point. We say, I am a fromme Yid. Right? In actual fact, it's wrong. We are not fromme Yid. If you would be a fromme Yid, you wouldn't speak Lashon Hara. If you would be a fromme Yid, you wouldn't do Onas Devorim. If you would be a fromme Yid, you wouldn't do Bitul Torah. And so on and so on. And all the other things. Money matters. In money matters. Sometimes we traffic. We do some tricks with money. You know what I mean? It's not quite honest. And sometimes it's quite dishonest. But nevertheless, nicht gefährlich. How do you do Teshuvo on that? How do you do Teshuvo on that? Do you go to a Rav and say, Rebbe, I've got a problem. I want to do Teshuvo on this particular transaction I'm doing. My heart is clapping. I know it's Rosh Hashanah. I know maybe it's not honest what I am doing. Tell me, what is it really the halacha? Do we do that? Are we ready to do it? Or we prefer, me fragt a Scheile ist treif. Besser nicht fragen kein Scheile. Because if I go and ask that Scheile to the Rav, they'll tell me, of course it's also. What's the matter with you? And we're not ready to go and ask the Rav. So we're not ready to do Teshuvo. And after all, we say, I'm a fromme Yid. And I'm still a fromme Yid. I don't want to ask the Rav. You should ask me whether it is kosher money or treifene money. Yes? And still, I'm a fromme Yid. So how do you overcome that? That was the shaila this younger light asked me yesterday. I told him like this. The root of the problem is to break one's gaive. In other words, you cannot do Teshuvo as long as you have got gaive. As long as you are proud of yourself. Before you can move a first step towards Teshuvo, a person has to go right back down from his gaive. As it says in the Pasuk. There is a Pasuk in Tehillim, Shocho le'ofor nafsheinu, Dovko lo oretz bitneinu. Our soul has gone down to the earth. Our belly has stuck to the ground. Kumo v'hoishienu. Now you can save us, the Boinu Shloilo. And Chazal comment on that. When can you ask Kumo v'hoishienu? When can you pray to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, save us from our aveirus help us to do tshuva. When can you do that? Only once you go right down to the ground. One has to be mafshit me'olov. He has to unclose from himself all the garments of all the facade, the nice clothes which he pretends, which he wants to keep on himself, to put up a nice face in front of the world. I am like this, and I am like that, and I am frum, and I am a tzaddik, and I am a talmid chacham. As long as a person wants to cling to that facade of his, as long as he wants, he enjoys the covet. He tries to bluff it, and he enjoys it. He cannot do tshuva. Impossible. As it says in the pasuk, "Nivze be'inov nimos," and Rabbi Yoina quotes it in Sharet Tshuva. The Rosh is nivze be'einov. He's ashamed of himself. He doesn't know where to hide himself. He's ashamed of himself because he's aware of his deeds. He knows that they're teuknisht. He's rebelling against the Rebbeinu Shel Olam. He's a moired b'melech malchi amlochim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Because how can you say Lashon Hara? No, Lashon Hara was gefährlich. You forget who commanded us on Lashon Hara. What? There is a Rabbeinu Yonah that says, a person that doesn't take precautions about a certain avere, and for him this avere is like it doesn't exist. He doesn't keep it. Fertig. And he doesn't try to amend himself on it. He says Rabbi Yoina is called a mumer ledover echad. A mumer. You know what a mumer is? A mumer ledover echad. It's like someone who doesn't keep Shabbos or doesn't keep kashrus. He rejected one mitzvah of the Torah. A person who doesn't try to be megoider himself, to protect himself from Lashon Hara or from Kaas. He doesn't try to do something about it. Then he's called a mumer ledavar echad. And he says, "V'godel avoinoi min esoi," and his sin is so great, HaKadosh Baruch Hu cannot bear it. So it is impossible without anova, without humility. So first we have to work on humility. And for that, we have to be very drastic. Because we have an attitude in social life to always protect one's covet. The first thing is, and what people will say, das passt nicht. They have been used to a pattern of life that the worst thing that could happen to us if people are mevaze us, if people think their mensch is a battlen, this person is a battlen, or this person is like this and like that. That is for us the worst thing that could happen. That is a fiasco in our life. And when is our life success? That's when our covet is well protected. A mechubedik mensch, a mechubedik mishpoche. That's how we have set our style of life. So if we take gaive as a style of life, when can we do tshuva then? And Chazal say, "Ein koved elo Torah." The only right koved is Torah. And therefore, every Elul, whenever it comes back again, I've got the same problem. On one hand, it's Elul, it's Brent, Elul, and Rosh Hashanah, Yom Adin, and we know Mamesh, Unesane, Toikev, Kedushas Hayoim, and we all Ma'aminim, B'nei Ma'aminim. We believe 100% in Yom Adin, Mi Yechyeh, Umi Yomus, Mi Bekitzoi, Umi Lo Bekitzoi, and so on and so on and so on. It's even hard to mention it in public. I do not like to mention it in public. And some people might say, Al tiftach pe lesoton. Al tiftach pe lesoton, why do you have to mention it? Al tiftach pe lesoton, I answer to them, Al tiftach pe lesoton, if it's in order to wake us up to the tshuva, that's not Al tiftach pe lesoton. You are muzzling the soton by tshuva. Utshuva, utfilo, tzedoko, ma'avirin roya gezeiro. The soton is misbalbel. He loses his mind. He cannot accuse us anymore when we wake up. And waking up means to realize our lowliness, how low we are. Boishti, as we say in the Slichas, the Pasuk of Daniel. Boishti v'nichlanti. I think it's Daniel at any rate. I'm not sure. Boishti v'nichlanti. Lahorim Elokai ponai elecho. Busha. A busha. To be ashamed of oneself because of what we have done and what we are still doing. And nachale meises we are from Eden. Double busha. Busha for what we do really, and busha for what we pretend to show to the world. Then we might start moving in the right direction. That is the first thing to do. That is the Aleph base. To wake up, to open our eyes and look at ourselves, not like we pretend to show, but what we really are. What we really are. I think I mentioned to you once, in the Pasuk it says, Kineir mitzvah v'toire oir v'derech chayim toichechois musach. Pasuk in Mishlei, Kineir mitzvah v'toire, or is it in Tehillim? Not sure. Kineir mitzvah v'toire oir. The mitzvah is a neir, is a candle. An air of a small lamp. The Torah oich, but the Torah is a great light. The derech chayim, but the way of life to reach olam haba is toichechos musach, is reprimands of musach. To be told off, that means. And if one cannot tell himself off, it's only große tzaddikim who could tell themselves off. Have you heard someone? Do you tell yourself off? The Chofetz Chaim used to tell himself off. He used to say, Yisrael Meir, do tshuva, you're old Yid, you might leave this world soon, and you'll come in front of the Yom Adin. What will you answer for yourself? Do tshuva before it is too late. He was already 90 years old, the Chofetz Chaim. He could tell himself off. But we don't tell. When do we tell ourselves off? At least, if we do not tell ourselves off, let us go to somebody who will tell us off. Or let me tell off others and having the kavanah to myself. We have to find different ways. Kechu imochem devarim, take with you words, v'shuvu el Hashem. The Pasuk says there is no way to tshuva except to take words. With words. Words are wonderful. Rabbi Yisrael Salanter, the words, he compares the words, it's in the Torah, it compares the words, to the rain. The rain. Yarov kamotor likri, tizal katalim rosi. Rabbi Yisrael Salanter adds a commentary on that. Although from the heaven to the earth there is such a big distance, the same, there is a big distance from the word we speak, or we hear, to our actions, because it doesn't mean that we are going to do tshuva yet, just by speaking those words, which we are speaking tonight. There is a big distance between speaking and doing. Yes? And neither many times I speak about certain things which myself I do not do. So Rabbi Yisrael Salanter said, although there is such a big distance from the words to the deed, like from heaven, from the clouds to the earth, but don't forget that from the clouds falls the rain, and the rain makes everything good grow. And the same the words, he says, the words, that's the only way how to make in our heart grow feelings, hergeshim, of tshuva and yiras Hashem. So we should never underestimate words. Kechu imochem devorim. Take with you words. Veshuvu el Hashem. What words? Derech chayim, toichechos musach. Reprimands of musach. Don't be afraid. As I said previously, one has to be drastic. Mitaganev, Mr. Salanter says, mitaf schreien mitaganev. Once I heard from a Devster also, he said, when you are teufel second, he says, please Ganev, what did you do? Are you going to be gentle? You say, Ganev, a thief, catch the thief. Remember once there was by Mr. Lampin here, there was one night, I hear, everybody is outside, Mr. Lampin is outside, and Kol Rash Godel, everybody was shouting. What happened? There was a Ganev. When there's a Ganev, the ganze Geride. And der Ganev, the Yetzer Hora, who are Satan, who are Malach HaMoves, our worst enemy. And we are going not to scream. Everything pleasant, and why do you remind us of Yoimadin? Why do you speak about Nesane Toike? What? Genug. On Rosh Hashanah, we have to cry because of Nesane Toike, if we do cry. But to remind us a few weeks before, why do you want to remind us? B'taf schreien. And the question I asked, if you remember, what do you need Tochechos Musar? If you have got Ner Mitzvah, the Teure Oir, and the Midrash says, a moshel, someone goes in the middle of the night, yes, in the forest, and he doesn't have a lamp, he doesn't have a light. So if there is a hole, if there's a big ravine, he will fall into it, because he doesn't know if there is a ravine in front of him. And if there is a tree, he'll bump himself on the tree, because he doesn't have a light. But if someone has got a light, he'll go around it. He'll be able to protect himself. So is the Torah, say Chazal in the Midrash. The one who has the Torah, he has got a light. As it says in another pasuk, the Torah is a light to light my path. So the question is, if someone has got Torah, he has got mitzvah, so why do we need Tochechos Musar? Derech Chaim, the way of Olam Habo, is Tochechos Musar. What do we need Tochechos Musar for? If you have the light already, you have Torah, you have mitzvahs. What do you need Musar for? Rabbi Yisrael Salanter he founded in every yeshiva, they should have a half an hour Musar. There was a big machlokes then. Bitul Torah, why do you stop the Seder to learn half an hour Musar? What do you need Musar for? How can they speak like that? It says in the pasuk that although you have Torah, you have mitzvah, kiner mitzvah, Torah oyer, and yet you need Tochechos Musar. But the question is why, Take? If you have got a light to show your way, so why do you need Tochechos Musar? If you remember, I think I already told you. Never mind, we can always say it again. There is someone who has got a strong light in his hand, Take. But you know what he does? He falls in the ravine. How can he fall in the ravine? He has got a strong light. Of course he saw the ravine. There is a case like that. What is the case? He closed his eyes. He has got a light in his hand to show him the way, and he closes his eye. So he closes his eyes shut and will fall into the ravine with the light. So it is sometimes. A person has got Torah. Yeah, we have Torah. We have mitzvahs. We have Torah mitzvahs. But if we are not using Tochechos Musar, so we might also fall into a ravine because we are closing our eyes. That's what I was saying before. In order to prepare ourselves to Yom Adin, to do Teshuvo, we have to open our eyes. We have been closing our eyes for many, many years already. I don't know since when. And we've been used to the mode of life we are living now already from since the time maybe that, I don't know, when we were 20 or 30. Did we change? Did we progress? Did we make drastic changes? No. Because we have set ourselves, the Alter Nvardik used to say, the worst Gzardin is when a person doesn't change. That's the worst thing. A person doesn't change. He always bleibt derselbe. And that's what we have been doing all the time. We stay the same. We see people after 30 years, 40 years, say, you are the same. You are the same. A compliment. That's not a compliment. One should be able to say, I don't recognize you. You have become mamish an angel. But that we don't hear. Although the Chovos HaLevavos says that the purpose of man in this world is to break his midas, is to correct his midas, so that he becomes an angel. So don't think it's too far-fetched to have this ambition to become an angel. No, that's what the Chovos HaLevavos says. Ki chefetz brias, or ki chefetz haboire yizborach bebrias mino odom, in Shara Prishus. The desire of HaKadosh Baruch Hu when he created man was leyaser hanefesh, to make the soul of man suffer in this world. In other words, to put him to test. Leyaser hanefesh ulenasoiso boilom hazeh כדי שתזדכך, so that this nefesh of the man should be purified, שתזדכך ותהיה כתכונס המלאכים הקדושים אשר במורים, so that a man should become like an angel. From an animal, we have to become an angel. From one extreme to the other. How do we do that? We have to open our eyes. We have to open our eyes. Each one with his own vice. Each one has got his foibles. We know. Each person knows his bitterness. Someone has got more weak point for chemdas hamumen. Some others don't. People, for them it's not an isoyen. A very straightforward people, they will not tell a lie. But they have got the other point. And so it is, everyone has got his own weak points. So one has to wake up, open his eyes, look at himself straight in the face. Sometimes there are people who don't want to look themselves. They don't want to open their eyes. It seems easier to stay with the eyes closed. I always give the moshel like a person, Rahman al-Islam, who was disfigured because of a terrible accident. He was burned in the face. And the doctor said, take away all the mirrors from all the house. Because if he sees how he looks now, he might faint and fall into depression. And we also feel like that. Sometimes we prefer not to open our eyes. We prefer to go on sleeping sweetly. But what does it look like? It's like the ostrich. Like the ostrich, the famous moshel of the ostrich that hides its head into the sand, thinking, I don't see the hunter with the gun in his hand. Therefore, I'm protected. Or the altar says, someone is afraid of thunders. So what does he do? He blocks his ears with a lot of cushions. He goes in the bed and heaps a lot of cushions on his head so that he shouldn't hear the thunders. Now, is it a protection against the thunders? It's not against the lightnings. It's not a protection. So what is it? What are you afraid to open your eyes? Face the truth. Open your eyes and see, I am so and so. Yes, admit it. Someone who agrees, he admits his fault, he admits his weaknesses. Don't be afraid. Yes, I am so and so. I'm short-tempered. I'm greedy. I'm a glutton. I'm dishonest. I'm a swindler. I'm a cheat. I'm a thief. And I'm ashamed. Please, Rebbeinu Shalom, help me to go out of this mud. Then HaKadosh Baruch Hu will help us, not before. If we do not ask, if we do not realize we are in the mud, then we're not going to ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu to take us out of it. I am on top of the world. I'm not in the mud. Now, let us not hear what those psychologists say. No, you should never speak negative like that. Speak always positive. You're on the top of the world. You are the best person in the world. You are the marvel of the creation. You are an angel. Very good, sir. Close the Sefer Shari Teshuvo. Forget about Rosh Hashanah. You can't do Teshuva. That's for sure. That's a goyish mais. The Torah has taught us differently. That is the refuah. That is the medicine. That is the remedy. Dov kol oretz bitneinu. We are in the mud. And then we can ask, we will ask, we are going to ask with all our strength, please help us out. And he'll listen to our prayer, Bezras Hashem, and be granted a good and happy new year.